All right, let's get this party started. This is a recorded show. Anybody who watches my show will realize that my studio is much more lit up. This is what it looks like during daytime hours. There's two windows in my studio, so it's a bright sunny day down here. It's close to 80 degrees, bright sunshine. Excellent day to be outside, but here I am inside. Of course, I'm rubbing this in on my guest because I know he's up in Chicago and realizes that, I've had some nice sunny weather now for the second day in a row, and I can go outside completely naked and lay in the sun if I want to. Hey, it's nice to have 4 acres of land. Of course, the bad part is taking care of 4 acres of land. That's a lot of grass to cut, a lot of stuff to take care of. Anyway, we'll get started recording our show. And Bones, let's see Bones in the daytime. Oops, product placement, RC Cola, originated in my hometown of Columbus, Georgia. Now their home office in Chicago. So a little product placement. And there's Bones. Bones, take it away. Let's get this thing started. Push a button.
Warning, the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Southern Fried Paranormal with Len Dorman featuring Bones. Catch us on Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Spreaker, Facebook, Stream, and everywhere else you catch your podcasts. And of course, WLFE-DB.com. Now, from the backwoods of southeast Arkansas, right beside the Bayou Bartholomew, the longest bayou on the planet, broadcasting from downtown metropolitan Cane Creek Township, here is your host, Len Dorman.
Hello, everyone. Len Dorman here, and we are going to go right into a show with our guest. We got a lot to talk about. Tony, I hope I pronounced his last name right. I don't call him by his last name. He's just Tony to me, tour guide Tony. Tony Szabelski. Did I get that right? And we are going to just let him start and take over the show because we're all about Chicago Hauntings tours and what Tony does. So how are you, sir?
Well, I'm pretty good, and thanks, Len, for inviting me. We go way back.
Yes, we do. We go back a lot of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back a long time. Back when I belonged to Snap It Paranormal Team, yes. And you would come to some of Snap It's events. And I did Bob Tracek's show with you way back when.
Yeah, we do a couple of Bob shows. I think we did a couple of Bob shows.
We probably did a couple of Bob shows, yeah. Yeah, I've done so many of them, it's hard to remember. But, yeah, I'm sure we probably did a couple of Bob shows.
Bob's a great guy.
Yeah, he is a great guy, yeah. He was at the last paranormal conference I was at. And I did a show probably less than a year ago. But you're talking about the weather down there. We're actually in the 70s today here in Chicago. It's one of the nicest days we've had in a while.
Wow.
So, yeah, can't complain.
We've
could probably go out naked if I wanted
to. We hadn't had freezing weather now in a month and a half.
Oh, so that's nice. So yesterday I had a tour actually last night. It was raining all day and it was kind of cool and damp and wet.
Wow.
But today it's finally nice.
Now, it's supposed to start raining here tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, and going to rain most of Monday and Tuesday. But, we're having a pretty nice weekend. Friday was beautiful. Saturday was beautiful. Most of Sunday is going to be nice.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice at least.
Okay, now that we've dated this recorded show, what is going on in Chicago?
What is going on in Chicago? Well, there's a lot going on in Chicago. I've been working for Chicago Hauntings for about 6 years now, That used to be Ursula Bielski's tour company. I worked for her.
She no longer has it.
Nope. Ursula sold the company the winter of 2020 to 2021. I worked for her for about 4+ years. I know you used to do some of the tours with her and stuff like that.
Yes. Went in with her to Ethel's party a couple of times.
Ethel's party, yeah.
And of course, that place that closed down,
right?
And it's still one of the I would just guess one of the more haunted places. Supposedly, I went in there and moved Bruno out with a little help of a psychic. Yes, we kind of moved him out of there because he was locked in place.
Okay.
Partially due to his own self. He knew he was a criminal, a murderer, extortionist, and he was not going to go to the other side because you kind of know where people like that are going to go.
Where he heads over there, yeah, right.
Considering most of your mob figures were practicing Catholics, they kind of know. That's why you see so many mob figures still around.
Right,
they know better than to go into the light. They know which direction they're going, and it's not up.
Right. Yeah. That's what I always tell people. I always tell people on the tours I give in Chicago that my personal belief is like what you just said, that if there's any ghost definitely still hanging around here, it's a lot of these old mobsters.
Oh, yes. Because they refuse to move around. And, of course, in Catholicism, they kind of accept, that there are demons, there can be possessions, and the fact that there is a purgatory. And it's my theory that's where ghosts exist, is purgatory.
Right. Yeah, that's a good theory.
And the Catholics believe in that. And although I'm a long ways from being a Catholic, but
I was raised Catholic,
went to Catholic. Most of you mobsters were too.
Right. So, exactly.
The other side kind of works according to your beliefs. If you don't believe there's a purgatory, guess where you're not going? You're going up or down. It's your life choice. But what Ursula sold it several years ago. Care to talk about who owns it now? Is it good people to work for?
He's a great guy to work for. His name is Mike Huberty. He's not local. He's out of Madison, Wisconsin.
Okay.
So I've kind of become like the Chicago guy because he's not local. He's run successful tour companies pretty much all over the place. He's had the Midwest covered. He's had them in Wisconsin, several different locations in Wisconsin, including Milwaukee and Madison. He's had Minnesota. He's had Puerto Rico. He has one in Hawaii. He just opened one in Los Angeles last year, and either he's in the process of it or he's already opened one out in like Maine. Plus he has several now here in the Chicago area, because before I worked for Ursula, I worked for a company called Haunted Hometowns Corporation. It was run by a lady named Diane Ladley, and it was in the suburbs, Naperville, Elgin, Aurora. He has now taken over that company. She sold it before I even, probably about the time I started working for Ursula. She closed her company. She didn't even sell it. She just closed it in about 2017. But now Diane gives the tours for Mike, and I still occasionally give some of the tours out there. I did some over the winter in the Aurora Roundhouse, which was the old train station in Aurora, big limestone structure built in the 1850s, which was abandoned for many years until former Bear Hall of Famer Walter Payton and his developers came in and restored the building. And there's still a lot of ghosts knocking around in that building, even though it's
I can imagine. I can just imagine.
Yeah. And then Naperville and then Elgin, we still occasionally run tours out there.
I wonder if he's ever going to come down to New Orleans and open up a
Maybe,
tour
yeah. I
down
mean,
there.
I would. Oh, Woodstock. That's another town out here that he just opened a tour in recently. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt him, having a presence eventually in New Orleans. But yeah, he's a great guy to work for.
Oh, okay.
Pays real well, pays on
Yeah.
time, good, communicates with everything well, advertises things well.
Because to be honest with you, if he is as good as you say, if he wanted to get a presence down in New Orleans, and I could go down there and get a cheap apartment while he wants to run it, I wouldn't mind going down there and doing that.
Well, I'll mention that to him.
I've been on several haunted tours. I know some of the history of New Orleans. I've ghost hunted New Orleans. I have a very good relationship with Marie Laveau herself.
Okay.
So yeah, me and New Orleans have been natural.
Okay, that's it. How far are you from New Orleans?
From where I'm sitting right now, I am wearing pants. I'm wearing shorts and I'm barefoot, but I could put on a pair of shoes, run out the door, jump in the car, and I could be on Bourbon Street in 6 hours.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Yeah, that's pretty quick.
That's including driving to New Orleans and through New Orleans. I'm talking about not in New Orleans itself, not inside the city limits. I could park the car and be standing on Bourbon Street with a grenade in my hand in 6 hours.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty close.
Yeah, that was not bad. We live in Southeast Arkansas. I am actually in Bayou country. You may have heard in the intro, I live by Bayou Bartholomew, which is the longest bayou on the planet. 25,000 years ago, it was part of the Arkansas River, but it changed course by 25,000 years ago, and it's pretty much in the course it's in now. The bayou used to be big enough to have smaller, not the great big tour jobs they have now in New Orleans and other places, but it had smaller steamboats running up and down, transporting cotton and other foodstuffs up and down the bayou up until about 1910. So, and I'm not very far from it. By the way, the crow flies, I'm probably less than half a mile from the bayou.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Now, how long have you been living down there?
6 years. I've been living. We moved to Arkansas 2015 December, and we got this place. We had some work to do, so we started in April 6 years ago. In May, and officially we took this up as an address on June 1st.
Okay.
I had to paint the whole inside. That was a job.
Oh yeah, I bet.
It was three bedroom house. So.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good size house.
It took 5 gallons of paint to paint all the walls, and the walls in the kitchen. And when I had to paint the walls in the kitchen, the walls in the master bedroom are wood paneling.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't have to paint the walls.
So
I had a urethane, but I didn't use the paint. But I used up every drop of 5 gallons of paint in all but the master bedroom.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I bet. That doesn't seem like it was that long ago that I was with you investigating Camp Douglas.
Yes. That time passes when you're having fun. You're busy in Chicago. Yeah. I'm busy down here.
Right.
I managed to get a little bit faster internet and unlimited. I was on satellite internet, but this new company came up just a few months ago and offered unlimited. With satellite, I couldn't do the show because I would eat up all my allotted time and download and upload spot with one show a month, and then we've been on slower than dial up the rest of the month. So I got lucky. A company came up with unlimited.
Well, that's
so
good.
Now my internet is that. It's just a little tiny box.
Yeah.
With those 2 big paddle antennas. And that's my internet.
Okay.
It works on a signal similar to cell phones.
Ah, I see. All right.
But
now, how long have you been doing this show?
I just started. I think I had my first show in late December.
Okay.
So I haven't been doing this so long at all.
I caught a little bit of one. Oh, yeah. How's it been going so far?
It's going fine. I've had the Paranormally Blondes on here. I've had Keynes. If you remember him, he was Jason in the latter Halloween movies.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
That he released a DVD back in February, I think it was, and I had two of his producers and co-stars. They did it was a paranormal investigation event over in South Carolina, I believe it was.
Okay.
I'll probably be having them on a show again this summer or this fall, because they're going to be doing another investigation, record on DVD, and we'll be selling it. So I'm liable to have them on again.
Okay.
Promoting that. So interviewing, movie maker types is fun.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
And I've had last night was this past Thursday was Greg Balkin.
Okay.
Out of Wisconsin. So I've had quite a few people on here. I've had people from New England. I've had people from California.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And I've heard the Ghost Biker from Tennessee. And a couple weeks ago, I had a group in from Texas who were actually having an event tonight. Of course, I'm dating this show again, but they're actually having a paranormal event tonight. So I've been broadcasting a little bit of that, or rerun of the show, try to sell a couple of tickets from there. Let me ask you one thing. We were talking about Ursula,
right?
And what is the state of her Paracon? Is she having it? Is she not? Or what's going on?
She has not had it since 2019. She held out in Countryside, one of the suburbs. That was the last one she had. She did have one planned for 2020, but then when COVID hit,
right?
You know what happened with that.
Yes.
I believe she was going to do that one at the Congress Hotel down on Michigan Avenue, if I'm remembering correctly.
Which would have been fun.
Which would have been a lot of fun. Very, very old haunted hotel where our bus tours do meet. We meet there now on Saturday nights.
So let's hit that for a second. Your bus tours actually meet at the Congress Hotel?
Yes. Yeah. I used to, when I was with Ursula, we met at the Congress. Then when COVID hit, they wouldn't allow us to meet there. So we shifted everything to the Chicago History Museum, and we'd meet in front of the History Museum. But just recently, Mike, the new owner, got the okay to start meeting for the bus tours at the Congress again. So we have for about a month or so now.
Very good.
So
you have the address of the Congress, so we can go ahead and state that where you meet?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. What street's it on?
It's on South Michigan Avenue, Michigan, and what probably in the days you lived up in this area was called Congress Parkway, but now they've changed the name of it to Ida B. Wells Drive.
Okay.
I want to say it's like, I could be wrong about this, like 520 South Michigan, something along those lines. But right across the street from Grant Park.
Okay. And that's a dandy place to meet.
It is.
People should know where that is. Even though we didn't have an address for it, they should know where the Congress Hotel is.
You should, yeah. It's right there on Michigan Avenue. It's been there since 1893. It was built for the World's Fair that came to Chicago that year to house the patrons coming in town. And throughout the years, there's been lots of suicides in the hotel.
Ooh, yes. That's the funny thing about Hotel Spit. Some people just go in there and commit suicide.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, do you have any Paracons now?
Well, yeah, a couple of my friends have been running Paracons, which I've been a part of, and that just, well, I think Neil, Parapalooza, he ran last year, but he ran it not in the Chicago area. He ran it over in Waseca.
Okay.
You familiar with the Watsika Wonder story, the possession story from the night? Yeah, I figured you probably would be
Of
from
course.
the 1870s. He ran it at the Roth House
Right.
last year, but I couldn't make it. Couldn't get away from the tours.
That was one of my last Chicagoland investigations, was investigating the Roth House.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been there several times, including a couple years ago.
Did you ever investigate outside the house?
On the grounds outside?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, many times.
Did you pick up any children's spirits there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Several times. And one of the guys I was investigating with got he was outside the house taking pictures of the front of the house. Well, actually, no, the back of the house. It was because in the back they got all that property back there. Right. Taking pictures of the back of the house, and it looks like a figure standing outside the house looking in the windows.
Oh, wow.
Kind of like looking like, what are these people doing here? Inside the house.
That's an interesting pickup.
Yeah.
Wow. Are they still doing open public tours there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do investigations there. John Whitman, I believe is the guy's name who owns it.
I think it's his name.
Yeah.
I guess that's, what is it, the rothhouse.com or whatever?
Right. I would probably say either the Roth House or Watsika Wonder House. Probably under both of those. Yeah. John, he's got it also open as like a bed and breakfast too.
Really?
So if you want to, if you could do like a shorter term investigation and leave for the night, or you could rent the place out, sleep there, and then they cook you breakfast the next morning.
That would be a cool thing for a paranormal group to do. There's several rooms. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can just go down there, get some sleep, go down there with some caffeine, and stay in the rooms and just investigate all night long, get up, eat breakfast, and go home.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's worth paying money for right there.
Oh, for sure. And it's really not that far outside of the Chicago area, maybe a couple hours drive.
No, yeah, I've traveled that distance from Southside Chicago, so it's not that far.
Yeah, not far at all.
So you can leave that afternoon, be there for that evening, get up, have a breakfast, and invest after investigating all night long. That's I appreciate you bringing that up. That's a good promo for them. Those are some great people.
They are. Yeah.
I may get them that on the show in a future event because I've always had good relations with the owner down there. He seems to be a nice guy.
He is a nice guy. And they've I don't know when the last time you were there. I've been there, I think, a total of 3 times now. This last time I went, which was probably late 2019, they have really beautifully restored the house. Really? A couple other times I was there was still a lot of work going on.
Yes.
But now it's finished, and it is absolutely stunningly beautiful.
Wow. Appreciate you saying that. Because I was there just before I left. It was fall, October, November of 2015 when I was there.
Okay.
So they had done a lot of restoration. There was a lot of places they were working on.
Right. Yeah. The previous time I had been there before, a couple of years ago, it was similar to what you're describing. There was still a lot of work that they were, doing. But yeah, it's a beautiful place to spend the night in.
Wow. Okay, that sounds cool. A couple of the bedrooms were fixed up out in the hallways, the common areas. Yeah. There was almost cans of paint and other work materials laying around.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all gone now, and it's all restored.
Very good. I'm glad they put the money people have paid over the years to good use.
Right. Yeah, they have. Yeah.
And I believe in supporting such people who go out and restore a site. Like you were talking about.
I do too.
The Walter Payton.
The Roundhouse. Yeah, Ashmore Estates is another one that I was at again a couple of years ago. Had been there way back when, probably about 10, 12 years ago with Snap It, when there was still a lot of it that just looked trashed. Yes. But now the new owners have really cleaned that place up, and it looks nice.
Are the owners there the same ones who actually won it by bid?
It's a guy named Robin Terry. I don't know if you know who Robin is. I think he might be different from the one you're thinking of.
Yeah, because I think it was a couple of women who bought it originally.
Yeah. And there were different owners when I went out there. They had like a little trailer that they stayed on the property. All of that is gone now. Robin lives elsewhere, but they put a new roof on it, and they've put there's windows in it now. Before the windows were broken. They've really cleaned it up quite a bit.
Cool. Well, that'd be an interesting place to go too.
It is, definitely. Yeah, down Ashmore, Illinois, maybe about a 3.5 hour or so drive south of Chicago.
Yeah, it's not that far.
Yeah.
Chicagoland.
Right, not too bad.
No,
but Neil Gibbons is the guy's name who runs the Parapalooza, and he's done it for a couple of years now. He runs a paranormal team called Graveside Paranormal. They also do some bus tours of the southwest suburbs, like the Resurrection Mary stuff, the Bachelor. He goes to Bachelor's Grove, things like that on his bus tours. That is July 23rd. I'm gonna look at my notes right here. Yeah, July 23rd at the Pavilion, which is located in Bridgeview.
Okay.
The suburb of Bridgeview, 7038 South Harlem, and that's going to be from 12 o'clock in the afternoon till 11:30 at night. So it's going to be pretty much an all-day thing. And there's going to be vendors there. I'm going to be giving tours. We're going to do several different tours throughout the day. Get like a little bus, go down Archer Avenue, which for maybe the people that don't know about Archer Avenue, Chicago ghost hunters would consider that to be one of the most haunted roads.
Yes.
Definitely in this area. Some would say in this country. We're
not only on a ley line, and
right.
It is an old Indian trail.
Yes, exactly. And not only do you have the sightings of the vanishing hitchhiking ghost, which became known as Resurrection Mary, which she's been chronicled on many TV shows, including the old Unsolved Mystery show, the Robert Stack show, shows like That's Incredible. Probably numerous other shows have talked about Resurrection Mary and vanishing hitchhiking, or people also like running over a young lady with their car. And they get out and they call the police and they look around, police come, they can't find anybody. And other people have reported dancing with this young lady at some of the ballrooms that unfortunately now, since the Willowbrook burned down, now pretty much all the ballrooms that used to be there are gone.
What are they building now in place of the Willowbrook?
Well, for the longest time they were saying they were going to rebuild the ballroom and have another ballroom on that site. But and I got a Resurrection Mary tour coming up this coming Saturday, the 30th, which goes by that site. We go over to the Irish Legend across the street, the bar. What they're putting up there now is pretty much what they're putting up throughout the Chicagoland area condos.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of.
They got a nice bar and restaurant across the street, so that would not be that bad a place to live.
No, it really wouldn't be.
But still, you and I are going to miss the ballroom.
We certainly are. I already miss it.
Yes.
We had
an interesting place to look at, go to.
For the longest time, even after the fire, they left some remnants of it still standing, including the big sign. But now all of that is gone. They've taken it all away. I don't know what's become of the sign. I would like to find out, though.
Yes, that would have been interesting to have in somebody's front yard.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because it probably would have had some residual haunting to it.
I wouldn't doubt it. I actually felt something on the empty land after they tore it down.
But some spirits are, you know this,
Mm-hmm.
that are attached to the land,
right?
Not
exactly.
the building,
right?
And, when the building's destroyed, a lot of times they stand in there, and sometimes some of them, if they're an intelligent spirit,
mm-hmm.
not a residual. Residual is just doing the same thing over and over again with no intelligence, no response.
Right.
But a intelligent spirit would be sitting there, what do I do now? Or
right.
they kind of create an alternative reality where they're walking around like they used to.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like everything used to be. Some of the spirits of Bachelor's Grove were like that. They were looking at Bachelor's Grove like it was in the 1870s.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So when these condos go up, there could be some people might get some surprises that
I would have no doubt that building will be haunted.
Oh yeah.
Before they sell the first condo, before the first people move
sure.
the lamp into there, it's going to be haunted.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sure. There's a lot of history on that land.
Yes, and the Irish legend has its own history.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And has its own spirits. Because I've actually, have you ever investigated in there?
I have. I actually got to investigate it twice.
So yourself, there's stuff in there.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Did you get to go upstairs?
I did, yeah.
Okay, do you remember the room between the bathroom and a bedroom?
Yes.
It's a little just walk through closet. It's got a door on each end of it.
I do remember
that. I was told that was a room where they did abortions on some of the prostitutes that got pregnant.
That's exactly what I was told also.
And that at least one of them died.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only time I had an attachment.
Oh, really?
For any length of time. Yeah. I got it right there. I was recording. They're not orbs, because I consider an orb to be on a still camera and it's round. Anything that's on video and is moving, unless it's a lens flare or something, that's not an orb, because usually a light anomaly, as I like to call it, are not round, and they've got a tail on them.
Right. Yeah.
Look a lot like a comet. And I had one fly into my hand. I was recording on video, and it flew into my hand. I had attachment for several months before I was able to get rid of it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Used to wake me up about 2, 3, sometimes 4 nights a week, about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Of course, it's interesting to get woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning by a ghost of a prostitute.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely. Oh, go ahead.
That was an interesting experience for me.
Oh, that. Not only did I hear that she died there, but I also heard that she bled to death on the hardwood floor, and the stain wouldn't disappear, no matter how much they buffed it out, tried to cover it over. It wouldn't disappear until they eventually just carpeted the room.
Mm-hmm. That would be interesting to look under that carpet with UV lighting.
Yeah. Right, and see what's under there.
Mm-hmm. Because you can pick up a lot using pure UV lighting on something like that.
Yeah.
And the reason I picked up the light anomalies in there, I was using a combination UV and IR lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we call those cameras full spectrum. Of course, all it is just a standard video camera that takes out the IR filter, takes out the UV filter. That's all it is.
Right. Yeah.
Not a true full spectrum camera, but it does pick up IR and UV light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's just what they call it.
Yep. So you kind of got to go with it.
Yeah. But also down in the basement, there's stories that some, gangsters could have been buried down in the basement.
Yes, there. I was told that was originally a dirt floor.
Yeah,
and when
that's
they
what I've
when
heard
they
also.
built the ballroom across the street, that one of the Capones, it's
Mhm.
unclear which one, that may have been owned by Bottles. He had several
Mhm.
bars and speakeasies. That one of the Capones, may have been Al, went across the street and talked to the guy laying the concrete for the base of the Willowbrook,
Mhm.
and contracted him to go into the basement at the Irish Legend and lay concrete on the floor.
I've heard this story also, yes.
And that he swore that there was 2 or 3 places there where it looked like it had been freshly dug dirt
Mhm.
about the size of a grave.
Right, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So unless you got ground penetrating radar that could go through concrete in there, well, that's just an interesting story. There's no way to prove it.
Exactly. Now you can see where the old tunnels used to be. They've sealed it off, but
Yes.
there were tunnels that led out of the
Yes.
building in various different directions.
Right. And the most prominent one went to the cemetery behind there.
Yeah, Fairmont
We
Hills
used to have a
Cemetery.
tomb that was locked from the inside
Mhm.
that they have since tore down.
Right.
The
Yes.
spot's still there. You can
Yes.
kind of see the empty place where the tomb used to be,
Mhm.
but it's been long torn down.
And all it had on it was the name of White. That's
Yes.
all. The last name White is all it said on there. But yeah, it's been long torn down.
But the talk is that during Prohibition, they would deliver the liquor there in a hearse, that nobody looks twice at a hearse going into a cemetery.
Right,
They
exactly.
just back the hearse up to the tomb, unlock it,
Mhm.
then they'd unload the liquor out of the hearse on the hand trucks. The hand trucks would go down the tunnel and into the speakeasy.
Right, yeah. What
And
a perfect way to get it in there.
oh yes. Have you ever investigated that cemetery?
I have, yes.
That's an interesting place, and at nighttime it is creepy.
Mhm. Definitely creepy.
You get a lot of stuff, especially over there closer to the backside of the Irish Legend.
Yeah, yeah.
Where the white tomb
Where the
used
White
to be.
Tomb would have been. Right.
There's
Yeah.
some interesting things there. That was a fun investigation. I hit that place twice at night.
Oh, did you? Okay, I've only been there once, but
I've been there a couple of times during the daytime.
Yeah, many times in the daytime. Yeah.
I've been there twice at night, and that's just an amazing place.
Oh yeah, definitely is.
Now, what is it? That other place over there, close to Archer Avenue, Oakwood, not Oakwoods.
Cemetery.
I forgot. Yes, cemetery. I forget the name of it. It's where it was rumored to where it was a horse-drawn carriage, hearse.
Oh, St. James.
No, not St. James.
Archer Woods.
Archer Woods. Thank you.
Oh,
thank you.
yes.
That's it.
Over on Keene Avenue.
Archer Woods.
Yeah.
That is a nerve-wracking place. I actually got the main tomb there that's close to the gate. I was recording through the window and got shoved backwards.
Oh, really?
Yes, during the day.
Yeah.
Daytime investigation.
Uh-huh.
Now, of course, I go in there and see if I can debunk stuff. And I spend a lot of my time at night debunking. Yes. And I think a lot of most people don't know that if you go in there all the way to the back, you kind of go uphill. When you go through the gate, you kind of go to the right and go uphill.
Right.
If you go back there far enough, there's a creek back there.
Okay. I think I have been back that far a couple of times.
And if you go back there, especially at night, it is full of frogs.
Oh, okay.
And
I probably haven't gone that far at night in the cemetery. I usually stick to closer to the gate.
Right. And if you go back there at night, you can hear them. The dB level is very, very loud back there. And I think that's where a lot of their sounds were coming from.
Oh, okay.
And people were saying people were crying. They heard,
right.
Calls.
One of the big claims there is they hear like a woman crying.
Yes. And certain frogs at certain times of the year do sound like a woman crying.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting thought. I never really thought of it that way, but yeah, that's probably very true.
So that a lot of that I kind of debunked. But of course, like any cemetery, you have your little roaming spirits.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I'm not saying don't go there. I'm not saying it's not haunted. But I think a lot of the stories can be explained.
Okay. And the main story there is of this crying or like wailing woman that people hear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, one interesting thing, I was back there investigating at night with one other person, and there's horse stables across the street.
Right. Yeah.
We look up, hear a noise, and here comes this white horse galloping through the cemetery. And talking about two people who that's one of the most spooked times I've ever been. Of course, a galloping horse is scary anyway. But at night, and if it was a black horse or a brown horse or a mixture, not that big a deal. Okay, there's a horse.
Right.
But having this white horse come at you at a gallop, that was nerve-wracking.
That would be pretty freaky.
And then it went
just
to the back.
Out of the stable. It just was running on its own.
They'd had some kids. I interviewed the guy across the street at the stables, and he said when he came to work, the gate was open for they kept the horses in.
Yeah,
and he said the white horse tends to, if somebody leaves it open, and they did, they had some kids there on a tour riding the horses, and apparently the gate was not latched.
Okay.
And what he did, he's a one-eyed horse.
Yeah.
And he just went on a little gallop, and then he was back in the back for about 10 or 15 minutes. Then he just slow walked it back through the cemetery and back to the stables.
Well, that would be a sight to see, definitely.
That was one of the scariest things I've ever seen in the paranormal. It wasn't paranormal; it's a real live horse.
It's a horse galloping through the cemetery.
Yes, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning. One night when I was there, there's a little, I don't know if it's like an office or records building. And when you first come in the gate, it's kind of like off to your left a little bit. They had about 4 or 5 coffins. I'm assuming empty coffins, just stacked up right in front of that building. Yeah. And
that's where they just used to be an office when somebody was there all the time, but now they just run it as a storeroom. And they usually have a concrete vault who's sitting outside of it.
Right. Yeah, I remember that concrete vault out there. Yeah.
And that's unnerving to look at. I had that once. There's a cemetery. If you look over this is my left hand. No, this is my right hand. This is my right hand.
Right.
If you go straight out past Bones here, out the window, and go straight that way, about a mile, maybe 3/4 mile, get a rather large, older cemetery. The area I live in is actually older than the Star City, which is a city town. City is a big word for a small place. And they actually, when Star City was incorporated, they actually kept the records up here at the church.
Okay.
For several years until Star City managed to build a courthouse. And Star City was incorporated in 1870, which kind of shows you how old that church is and how old that cemetery is back here. And this whole area is called a Cane Creek Township. Star City is kind of in the middle of the township. By the way, I live outside a city, a town of not quite 2,300 people.
Okay.
And I live a mile and a half outside the city limits.
Okay.
And
a little bit smaller than the Chicago area.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
In this immediate area, may have 35, 40 people.
Okay. Oh. Wow.
Got behind the woods behind me just got bought up. He bought, I think, 23, 24 acres.
Mm-hmm.
And he cleared all the land, all the trees, and he's building a small mansion. So I'll have I've actually got the guy that owns the property now, so I've technically got a neighbor, but he doesn't live there
now. Yeah, you got a neighbor.
Yeah, the later this summer, I'll actually have a neighbor back there.
Yeah,
kind of cuts out the deer hunting and the gun range.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Here in Arkansas, everybody's got 2 or 3 guns apiece, and
oh yeah,
they like to go out in the back in the gun range. And now we got to change the angle of where we shoot.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so
don't want to shoot on his property.
We don't want to shoot his house.
Shoot his house. Yeah, exactly.
And with that much acreage, I think he's either going to put horses or cattle on it. I'm not sure which.
Mm-hmm.
Because he cleared it of all the trees. So that's obviously he's going to set a field or something. So
right. He's going to do
He's either going to do some. He's going to do some serious farming or some serious ranching. I'm not sure which.
Yeah.
But it could be, of course, be kind of neat. I walk out to the back acre of our property here, and there's some cattle, or horses, or a cornfield. I'm not sure what I'll see.
Oh, interesting.
So that's where I am.
Right. Yeah, definitely different than living in the Chicago area.
Well, it's really nice because it's hard for me to contact the neighbors right across the street with him standing on his front porch and me standing on mine. One, we can barely see each other. Mm-hmm. And 2, you're shouting at the top of your lungs and he can barely hear you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to actually walk closer to the road, and he has to get off his porch for us to really be able to see each other and hear each other, which is kind of nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But what did you say it was? The Palooza?
A Parapalooza.
Parapalooza. Okay.
I think there's a big music concert every year in Chicago in Grant Park called Lollapalooza.
Lollapalooza.
He kind of took the name from that, and this is going to be a paranormal thing. Let's call it Parapalooza.
Okay.
So I'm going to be doing the Archer Avenue Resurrection Mary tours, and as part of that, we're going to run several of them throughout the day. Go up and down Archer. St. James is one of the cemeteries I talked about. We plan on going over to St. James, which many consider to be like the oldest cemetery in the Chicago area.
Probably is.
Very creepy too, especially if you're there at night. They got the church up there, and it was called Monk's Castle for so many years.
Right.
Well, I mean, they still nickname it Monk's Castle, and people have seen phantom monks on the grounds there. And there is a story. That's what I thought when you mentioned that horse and carriage. Because there is a story of some traveling musicians one time, like back in the 1890s, who were playing a crowd there for like a church picnic, and they were from Chicago. Instead of not driving, probably 1890s, horse and buggying back up to Chicago, they ended up staying on the grounds for the night. And in the middle of the night, they were awoken by what sounded like a horse and carriage coming toward them. Wow. And they looked out their window, couldn't see anything, but the sounds kept getting louder and louder. And then eventually what they saw in like the middle of the cemetery was a woman with long, like black flowing hair, pretty much all in white, standing in the center of the cemetery with her hands raised up in the air. And then all of a sudden, this horse and carriage come into sight and just kind of circle around this woman, and all of them just kind of disappear like up into the sky.
Wow.
And these guys actually, I think they swore their testimony on like affidavits that they actually saw this thing. And there's even a police report probably on file somewhere about this incident, and it made the newspapers. So that's one of the stories at St. James. But Keene Avenue that we were talking about earlier, you mentioned those horse stables. If you go all up and down Keene Avenue, that's for those that don't know, Archer is the main road down there where we consider all the hauntings. But Keene Avenue is kind of like the other side of that whole area that they call like the Triangle. Ursula always called it the Archer Avenue Triangle. And there's probably just as many ghost stories or interesting stories on Keene Avenue as there is on Archer. And you have a lot of those stables there. And there's a lot of stories of, it's a very dimly lit area at night now. You can imagine years ago when there were less houses there were a lot of accidents with people on the horses going down that street. Car comes by, doesn't see them, they crash into each other. Lots of stories of people dying there in accidents,
especially around that one stop sign.
Right, yeah, there's one stop sign.
It's kind of hard to see. You stop at that stop sign.
I think it's 95th and Keene. Trying to remember off the top of my head. I think it's 95th and Keene where there were a lot of accidents.
Yeah, there's some people that got killed there, some animals that got killed there.
Yeah. Well, Richard Crowe, Chicago's old ghost. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't know Richard Crowe in this area? Chicago's old ghost hunter. He interviewed a lot of people who witnessed the accident or had family members die there. As I think so did Dale Kaczmarek.
Yeah, I think Dale has too. You mentioned Richard Crowe, which is the godfather of everybody in the paranormal in Chicago.
Right, yeah.
There's a couple of groups that are still working there in the Chicago area. Of course, the Civil War Roundtable and the Westerners.
Okay.
The Chicago Corral. They call them corrals instead of groups. And I was in those groups with Richard Crowe.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting.
So that was, I got to hang around with Richard quite a bit at especially the Westerners meetings, and ate with him several times. And his last John Dillinger event, a year before he died, because he died in June. The John Dillinger event was July, of course, at the anniversary of the killing of John Dillinger.
Yeah.
And that June, July before he died, of course, about 11 months before he died, I actually worked with him on that event.
Okay.
And I've got that recorded.
Oh, okay.
There's 2 almost 20-minute long videos of the entire thing, including the lady in red.
Yeah.
Where they got voted on by the public, and of course the walk across the street and down the street to the alley.
Right.
Of course, the interesting thing there is she wasn't a lady in red. Too many red dresses. That was not.
Yeah.
The FBI couldn't find somebody in a red dress. There's too many of them.
Right.
She was wearing an orange dress.
Right.
And the neon lights in the marquee made it turn. Look
right. Red. That is exactly true. Yeah.
All right. Well, we got to end. We're at 55 minutes.
Oh, okay. That one's like
yes. Let's go ahead and end it here.
Okay.
And I'll have to send you another link.
All right.
Same place I did before. And we'll do another hour, and I'll show these shows kind of back to back as one show. We normally do a 2-hour show. So we'll see you on the other side, and we'll see our audience on the other side. Be right back with Tony, the tour guide, Tony. In just it'll be a heartbeat. It'll be about 10 minutes for us, but it'll be a heartbeat for them.
Sounds good.
All right. Let me back on out of here, and we'll see you in a few.